Good afternoon. I am not the world's greatest streamer, so obviously you know my name. My name is Liz Kimber, as from my Twitch channel. Today, I hope to go through with you a plan that I have. My plan is quite simple. I intend to make a lace net curtain by hand. Now, to most of us, a net curtain is quite flimsy, see-through, but my brain has always been a little bit odd, and those who have met me before, thanks BitGamey, those who have met me before know that odd is generally a good way to describe me. So I'm sitting there, and as a very small child, I was sitting with my grandparents, and my cousin came over, and she brought with her this big pile of stuff. And she was trying to show my gran, but, well, her mother wanted her to show my gran, and my cousin wasn't interested. And I was like, oh, well, what is it? It's lace making, says her mother. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? I mean, I'm a tomboy. In old-fashioned terms, I am not the girliest girl. I don't do pink, I don't do fluffy, I don't do flowers, and I sure as heck do not do lace. But I am sitting here, and I learned that day to do a few elementary stitches. So I went away and I got home, and I found myself a little bit out of sorts, because obviously, well, not many people do lace making. It's not that common. Well, it's more common than you think, but it is not something they teach in school. It is not something that you'll go into a newsagent's and there'll be a magazine on the shelf. So my mum got me some foam, got me a thing, got me some bobbins, and kind of left me to it. And I made, as all children do, a couple of strips of next to nothing. They were like 1 inch wide. By the way, I am bilingual. I do centimetres and inches, and I swap between them. Small things, generally, I can do either. Bigger things, yeah, they're miles, and I don't really do kilometres. So, bear with. So, I'm talking literally 1 inch wide. We're talking 2.5, maybe at most 3 centimetres, and it was probably 8 inches long. That thing took me months, because of course I was on my own, and the moment I unpinned it, didn't really work, kind of fell apart, bit disheartening. And when you're a child, everything was an uphill struggle. Everything seemed hard. When I learnt to knit, my mother made me knit. She wanted me to knit my own jumpers. I would get halfway up the back. It had taken me 6 months. I was about to grow out of it, because of course I was growing, and she'd have to finish it. So I never got the joy of finishing and enjoying anything as a kid. As an adult, it's really weird how I go to do something and I'll almost take to it like I've been doing it for 20 years. And lace making was a little like that, but the window fascination has always been a problem. When I gave up knitting after my mother made me try a lot, and I refused to knit for decades, frankly. And I decided to crochet. Then my, at the time, husband said, "Hey, knit me a jumper." This is crochet, darling. There is like a chasm of difference. One has 2 sticks, one has 1. Fine. So I tried to knit him a jumper. That thing was a monstrosity. You know, Frankenstein himself wouldn't have worn that. It was bad. And I ignored it again until I bust my knee. And then I double knit. I learned double knitting because I was an insomniac at the time due to pain. And I learnt double knitting. Do you know what my brain did? It looked to my bedroom window, which is like 3 windows wide. Now, I don't know if Americans and other countries have the same, but we have in the UK, our windows are like, I don't know, quickly looking at it. Really? Already? Apparently we have adverts. Okay. I shall talk amongst you. So, thank you for coming, Bit Gamey. I do feel slightly happier that someone's listening, but after all, talking to yourself is, I mean, I do it all the time, I live alone, but there's swearing at yourself, criticising the dog, but talking, it's a bit harder. So, I don't know, but I'm assuming we have ads. Oh, okay. This is a good thing. Anyway, we'll continue with the story then, if there's no ads. I, having learnt to double knit, looked at my window. As I said, the UK windows, we have like, I'll call them strips. So each window, for example, if you have 3 windows bunched together, usually the outside 2 open, the middle one doesn't, right? But they are kind of divided up into 3 windows. And my bedroom window was as described. Just answer that. So I looked at it and my brain went, hey, if you get some really thin thread, I mean really thin thread, you could make a black and white picture, a bit like those kind of Chinese style blue and white crockery with like the story on it, and you could make a mural and you could black out your bedroom, because, well, I only ever see my bedroom in the dark, so permanently covering the window is a thing, but, and it's going, yeah, that'd be so cool. And it's like, and I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it would be. And if you use really fine thread, obviously, if you think of stitches of pixels, the more pixels you have, the more detail you can put in it. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then I worked out that it would be kind of like 2,000+ stitches, say top to bottom, the short side, right? And 2,000 stitches. 2,000 stitches. And it was like, yeah, I'd be insane. And ever since it's thought of that, it brings it up. It really does. Every so often it's like, but you could do that. You could, whatever I'm working on, whatever thing it is, because I do a number of hobbies. Yeah, you could do it with this. Brain, leave it alone. But Brian, it's a little like having the devil on your shoulder, I guess. And I recently decided that lace making needed to be a thing. Actually, my brain decided lace making needed to be a thing. I woke up one morning and my brain went, hey. And I went, what, brain? And it went, I want to do more lace making. Brain, it's been a really long time. Yeah, but I want to do more. Brain, I did next to nothing. But I want to do more. So, being an adult, and obviously the stuff I had as a kid is long since gone, I had to buy lots of stuff. So, lots of stuff later, and occasionally a bit more stuff, and maybe some more stuff, because, well, choices and options. In fact, the square on the screen I made. It was about the 5th thing I made. I made a handful of crappy bookmarks, and then I made that. And my brain went, what about the window? And it was like, brain, not again. But what about the window? So here we are. Let me introduce to you the window. Now, I do, in fact, have a picture of the window. She says going to find it, because I did prepare some things, but not that much. So hopefully, actually, I'm not sure that's a plan. But there's the picture of the window. So let's see if I can find. As I say, I did try and plan for this. And there you go. So here is the window that I am planning on attempting this. I am not going to say... Oh, by the way, about 3 seconds after I took the photo, I went to pull the curtain shut, because obviously I opened it to show the window, and the curtain pole fell off. So I've got some work to do this weekend, trying to put the curtain pole back. Brains are like that indeed. And yes, it's a window. But this is the window I intend to make a net curtain for. It is an upstairs window. It is kind of at the top of my stairs where only I see it, really. But I did think that maybe my brain would leave me alone if I made it a net curtain. So this is the window of planning, right? So I have a program, and here it is. Right, it's this program is quite a good program in that you can open some things. Let me show you this. So this, if you can see, there are little blue dots forming the outline of a bookmark. And what you can do with this is this software allows you to plan out what you're going to do. Now, it's a bit gamey, you'll understand this. It's not overly user-friendly. It's got quite a few bugs in it. And as a programmer, it grates my soul, and I've tried to explain to the lady who sells it, but she doesn't write it. Someone who writes it, who doesn't do lace making, does. And so I explain it to her, and she's, oh, well, we thought it would be better that way. Yeah, but there are standards. There are things people are used to, and this just butts up against all of it. Okay. There are shears here in the UK, but they're more voiles. I've never understood. It's like the 58 cut. It's a bit. On behalf of all female kind, I do apologise for the fact that most women have 98 words for blue. I'm a bit more blokey. It's kind of blue. It's maybe a greenier blue or a darker blue, but it's blue. So the exact naming of things and the fact that lots of things. Lace making's the same, by the way. In lace making, there are realistically two moves. You take a left bobbin and place it over the right one, or you take the right one and place it over the left. Now that's it. But there are more kinds of lace making than you ever dreamed possible, and and as a result, it is really hard because it's like everything. They're all really similar, except that little bit they do completely differently for no apparent reason. And I am. This software allows you to kind of plan things out. So I've got a bookmark, I've got a square, and I've got the square that I've got a square that, for example, let's pick a square. So here is a square that I potentially envisage doing. And as you can see, it's a square. And you'd start, say, here, working down this line. You make this triangle. You then rotate your entire pillow thing and do the next triangle, and then the next triangle, and the next triangle, and you've done a square. The problem with these squares, if I go back to my starting screen, was the lines down the side. Now, this isn't necessarily ugly. This can be nice. I mean, if you are making an edge of something, everything's got to have an edge. Either has a really fancy frilly edge, or it has a practical, straight, strong edge. But do you really want your net curtain to have hard, solid lines cutting it up? And the answer was probably not. Now, back in the days, the French used to make Chantilly lace. Now, you may have heard of it. if nothing else, because of the song Chantilly Lace. And what they did was they would make strips and sew them together. Now, the strips are easy to make, I can assure you of that. The sewing together, however, was an art. Now, this is going to be the fun bit. My lace pillow. I have, and yes, they're small and they're ugly, bear with, I have some strips that I have made. Oops, need to fluff this one out a bit. It's got a bit shrunk in the wash. Oops, upside down. Not that it really matters. It's only a strip. So I made some strips because, well, yeah, you've got to do these things, right? Now, I can zoom in, but I warn you now, the zoom is very, very rudimentary. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that they haven't got straight, hard edges. And the idea is, you know the song? Yeah, you will do. It's the Heart Pound OST. Right. So, because we're allowed. So here we go. Oh, you know the song, the Chantilly Lace, right? The edges here, I thought that if I can then join these together. Now, whether you join them by making another piece in the middle, or you physically sew them together like the Chantilly Lace people did, that this could be a good way to proceed. As you can tell, I haven't tried sewing it together yet because I'm a chicken. Yep, but I'm not human, I'm a chicken. So I haven't done that yet, but that is the plan. So I've got two sets. There are slightly different, actually, that one, if I move them around, those two are a pair, and those two are a pair. Before you ask me, how do I know? I really doubt that this is going to show up, but let me see if I can zoom in a bit more. That's as much as we can zoom. If you look between the vertical stitches here are much thicker and denser than, say, the vertical stitches on this one. This is because there was a bit more twists going on. So it was it would make it stronger and make it a bit easier, because obviously there isn't also a thought of putting all that effort in, hanging the curtain up and watching it ripped apart under its own weight. So that was also potentially not a good plan. So here are my experiments, and today I'm going to start another experiment. I have considered that maybe making quite wide strips. Hi Tenchi! Making, say, some wider strips and joining them. So making, although the window's not that big, so it wouldn't be that wide, but making, say, 3 or 4 really long strips that go top to bottom and only having lines going down it, in kind of, i.e. making colossal bookmarks, might be an option. So I haven't ruled that out yet. Oh, if the stream keeps freezing, that'll be my dog crap internet. I pay for 80/20, and every so often it eats some packets. I am considering, but it'll be like 2 packets every 3 minutes. But at the same time, it's not lost connectivity, so it doesn't count, so the internet provider can't do anything about it. So I'm trying. If it helps, I can't watch streams without them freezing usually either, so I've kind of had to get used to it. This is not ideal, and I can't do anything about it. Apparently, I live in the bottom of a well, so... but hopefully it catches up and isn't too bad. So that's my plan for today. Let me show you. Let me unzoom out on that, because otherwise you're going to... You don't need to see quite that far out. Right, let me show you the plan of today. So if we go back here, and I load... No, I don't want to change it. No, no, what are you doing? Why is it you say open and it doesn't? Right. So, what you might have vaguely noticed in when I showed you my lace pillow was a little grey bit of card brown bit of card in the middle. This is, in fact, this bookmark shape. And my plan is to make this as the experiment. Why this? Well, if I scroll in just a little bit, she says, noticing that the scrolling in thing is... Oh, and of course, it doesn't use natural keys. Thanks for that. When it's full screen, I can scroll in. More buttons, there we go. So if I scroll in a bit, right, make it a bit bigger. Actually, that's not what I want. So, this shape here is... that's not going to work. It's not going to work like that. Right, so this shape here, this kind of 3x3 grid at the top, is known as a honeycomb. And what it actually makes is kind of an oval in the middle. In fact, if I go back to my start screen, that's what makes... I don't know if you won't be able to see my mouse, but you notice that there's kind of the ring of... inside there's two sort of wiggly white lines, and inside there are some like holes. Well, I know it's made of holes, but there are some holes, right? Those holes are the honeycombs, but they've then got a stitch in between them, which I didn't like so much. So back to our plan. So the idea is to make basically a load of honeycombs, and this pin here, no, not all of it, no, fine, but this thanks Denji, this outer pin will not have a new pair of bobbins put on it. So these will all be, well, this one will have two, but all of these get a pair of bobbins, and then this one won't. Why won't this one? Well, because what will happen is out of a pin, so two bobbins go in here. One goes that way, one goes that way. At this point, two pins. One bobbin goes that way, one bobbin goes that way. This one. So when you get to here, two bobbins, one goes down, one goes out. Well, I'm just going to pin it. I'm not actually going to put any more bobbins on, because that way you get to make the hole, because it will come back in and join back at the bottom with the one it had earlier. So the idea is that, and then those two will come straight down. Actually, well, one will come straight down and one will go that way. Really needs two, but the idea being that because you continue to make this shape, if obviously in the long run you don't make it symmetrical, so what you'd make is on, say, this side, you'd have another one. In fact, let me add one for hang on, grabby the magic thing. If I did this one would overlay this hole, and these three bits would overlay these three bits, and you could sew them together. So this is the plan of the day. Now, I don't have this, because what I will actually do, so if I remove these, what I will actually do is stagger it slightly so that, say, this lot... Hi, Royal Legion. It's okay, thanks for stopping by, BitGamey. It is made of holes. It is indeed absolutely made of holes. Lace making is the art of taking bits of string and making lots of holes. But then that's what you want in a net curtain. Now, you can, as you may have noticed from the starting screen, in my experiment, yes, this is just going to be a big pile of holes. There will be other stitches. So, for example, if I scroll down a bit, I could do other things. So, not that I'm actually going to do it, because I haven't printed it out. I also could print this off. I've got a printer and a laminator, and so I can print this off and use it as my template. So we can design online my neck curtain. I will print it off, laminate it. You then stick holes in all the little dots, and then it goes on my lace pillow. Now I've got a lot of lace pillows, and depending on what I decide will decide the lace pillow in the long run. The reason I've chosen the lace pillow I'm using today is, funnily enough, it's the cheapest pillow I've got, but it's also the one I kind of like the most in general. It's the foam lid off a cooling box. So I ordered some pasties. They came in a cheap styrofoam box to keep them cold because they're frozen. The lid of this is my lace pillow. All I did was put a bit of couple of Amazon cardboard sleeves on the back to give it a bit more strength, because obviously styrofoam does tend to break, and I didn't want to press the middle or something by accident and have it snap in half. So I glued a bit of that on the back, covered a bit of felt on it to give it a little bit of extra support, because obviously pins could dig holes in the styrofoam, and then covered it in a bit of cloth. So cost me, ordering pasties, which I really like, so basically free, whereas the proper ones that one pays for are £40 to £50 or more depending on the type of pillow, and they're really, really fancy, but this is a solid one. There are no holes, there are no blocks. Now, there are reasons why block ones are good, and I did use block ones to make... It has been a while, Royal Legion, it truly has. It's like about 6 years. But the pillows, I've got one with a rolly top that allows you to make like a continuous long piece, which would be good if I go for the colossal bookmark option. I've got one that's really good for making smallish, 10-inch squares. I've got round ones, which again are quite good for making things you turn. They don't sit on my little standy thing. By the way, I've got a special lace pillow standy thing. So, but I've got all of this. I had to buy a light. I had to buy a microphone. I've gone to town on all of this. Anyway, it is time. Now, I have prepared some bobbins. Let me show you my bobbins. So let's remove my tiny experiments, because they are tiny. This experiment is not going to be big. The one thing about lace making is, A, it's not very fast. B, I'm not entirely sure it's a spectator sport, but I threaded some bobbins. Now, I'm sure you're looking at that and going, hey Liz, that's a heck of a lot of bobbins. Oh honey, that's 12 pairs of bobbins. The lace square that was my starting screen was 43 pairs of bobbins. That's 86 bobbins. This is not even half that. Now, these are a different bobbin to the one I made the less square in, because, well, getting 86 bobbins on anything is a challenge. Well, as you can see, having them side by side, this fills my block. Now, this is a challenge. In fact, I've just noticed, unless my eyes deceive me, you can't see the top of my pillow. Let me move this down a bit. Hang on. It's probably easier to move the camera, but probably not. Let's move that down a little bit. There you go. So, I'm going to steal these, because the reason I put them in here is so they don't tangle, because I'm sure you'll understand this. Anyone who's done anything with computing will understand this. If you put bobbins down, they tangle. They're like cables. You put them down and you turn around and now they're all knotted up. And I need to introduce you to two people. Now, I'm not going to introduce them live because I'm not having cameras, but I made a special screen just for them in case they, let's say, attack. Now, attack is the wrong word, but in case they get lively and dependent, I have made this. I would like to formally introduce you to Rory, the black one, and Amy, the brown one. These two currently sleeping, as they do quite a bit, which is good. We like them when they sleep like this because they are so well behaved. Occasionally wake up and go nuts. So I have prepared for many eventualities, and one of the eventualities is that they will suddenly decide, as they do, that they need my undivided attention. So Rory is slow, gentle and loving, but won't let anyone cut his claws. So it's a bit like trying to be friendly with Edward Scissorhands. But he will hug you whether you like it or not. He does ask, but he won't leave you alone and he will dig his claws in until you do. Amy is an alien face hugger. She will kind of be sitting near you. The next thing you know, she's wrapped round your face because she has leapt off the floor, head-butted you, and is now, well, wrapped round you. And you don't have a lot of choice in the matter. They both enjoy licking me to death, to the point my face can be sore. And, well, it can get a bit much. So, should this occur, I have a screen. Should someone be in the road, Amy will sing at them. I will get annoyed about it. You will soon understand. So, it is time to progress. I need to move slightly so I'm in a little bit more position to adjust be it my lace pillow, because at the moment I would get uncomfortable. But let me move my mic slightly. I apologise if it makes lots of noises. Right, shuffle over, grab my things. Right, so they're a bit short, but let's. When I wound these, I clearly did a bit of a crappy job, but never mind. Do. Stretch them out a bit. This one's definitely had a bad day already, and all it did was sit there doing nothing. See, look at this. Look at the state of this bobbin. It's just frustrating. So, see if I can sort this out. What have you done? One of the things that is very true with lace making, it is not good for your eyesight. And, well, I'm over 50 now. And my short distance vision, I really need a new pair of glasses. Now, I say that with all the love in the world, but glasses are really friggin' expensive. And I've got reading glasses already, and they're a reasonable strength pair of reading glasses. I do need to point that out. They are not inconsequential, you know. We are talking, I think, plus 3.5. But apparently this is not enough. So there's a lot of peering over glasses, lots of taking glasses on and off. And frankly, this is not a good world to be in. And then, because of course, I can't see past my nose without them, but I can't see too close to my nose with them. And everything always seems to be in the middle. So, I did have a plan, and I've changed my plan already. This is what happens with when you're indecisive. I'm going to stick with the original plan. So, as I explained before, lace making is made of 2 moves. Left over right, right over left. And sticking a lot of pins. So, pin. And in this particular kind of lace, which is known as torsion lace. Hi, Caroline. Yeah, dogs are a blessing, but best asleep. So in torsion lace, you do a thing called cover the pin. So you do a move, you stab it with a pin, and you do it again. 1 pin down, a lot of pins to go. And we need more bobbins. Next pair of bobbins. This one's already a bit more. Grab another pin. Stick it in the hole. Thank you, dog. Dog's woken up. So stab it in the hole. It does not matter whether you go left or right first. A lot of people are, as I say, Twitch is saying that there are adverts. Whether there are adverts or not, you'll have to tell me, I think. See if there are ads or not. I'm going to assume that there potentially aren't ads. Thank you, Amy. Yes, darling. As I said, good example. Hard to tell, especially if you haven't answered. So, you can. People often ask how you tell where to go. Well, the answer usually is the highest open hole in your work. So here you've got a choice of 2. You can go either side. So I'm going left because, well, why not? So we're going to repeat the same actions. Stab it with a pin. And cover the pin. Another pin in the hole. Stab it with a pin. As I said, I'm not overly convinced how much of a spectator sport this is going to be. But if nothing else, the designing of said lace thing and coming back and watching and seeing how it goes might be. Those are a bit short, but never mind. More pins. I need to stretch these out a little bit more. There you go. And repeat. Now, I did stupidly not plan this very well, because the pins I normally use for this, there we go, pin them back a bit, hold them out of the way. Why is that little? Because I need to stab it with a pin. Stabby, stabby. So I still need those 2, idiot. Alright. So, pin. So you may wonder why some of my pinholes have got a white splodge around them. There's a reason for that. The very first row of pins here with a white splodge are not actually part of the pattern. They are for temporarily holding pins, as I am now, to insert new bobbins. Stab it with a pin. Grabbing one pin out of my big pile of pins is harder than it sounds. Let me show you why. Here is my big pile of pins. So grabbing them out of the pin box is fun. It's a bit longer. There we go. How many have we done now? 1, 2, 3, 5. Last pair on this side. Yes, another pin. Stabby, stabby. Pair of bobbins. When I loaded my bobbins, I deliberately made the thread between them quite short to prevent the whole tangling process. So, swappy, swappy, stabby, stabby. Right, that is the first side down. I need to take my jumper off, I'm getting hot. It's alright, I'll freeze again in a minute. Welcome to being older. It's called menopause, it's great fun. Right, so, now I've done this side, what I can do is take this pin out. I really should have got a bigger pin, but it's holding something on the back of my couch. Actually, this end is good. I'll steal this one. Here we go. Stolen the couch pin. Alright. Let me move all of these to one side. Stabby, stabby. Hold them out of the way. Oh, I need those two. Right. I'll need those two. Two more. Here we go. Going down the other side. Thing in the hole. Stretch out the bobbin a bit. So, I like these bobbins. These bobbins are much chunkier and there are more kinds of bobbins than you can shake a stick at. Now, in essence, all bobbins do and perform exactly the same job, which is hold the thread, allow you to swap it around with an element of control, because obviously it gives it a bit of weight and keeps it straight. I was going to grab some bobbins to show you, but never mind. So these seem to be, now I say that with not a lot of confidence, because these are not new bobbins. These do not seem to be made anymore, which of course is probably why I like them, because you just can't go out and buy them. And it's slightly annoying because they're quite good for when you use a bolster pillow, which is a roundy one. These dangle off and you can pick them up and you can fiddle with them underhand. And there are some advantages to this because you can see what you're doing with the bobbins. But it does work very well because you permanently hold one pair in one hand, a hand. You fiddle with them, and then you drop down one set of bobbins and pick up a new set of bobbins, and it does make that whole working process quite fluid and quite enjoyable. Now, on a flat pillow like this, that's not quite so easy. This is at an angle. Straight would be, doesn't really show on camera. I could straighten it, but this is an angle to give them a bit of weight. This is more British. Not that I overly am fussed as to the country of origin of any of these things, but these bobbins are generally referred to as Swiss bobbins, and they seem to be from around the 1980s period. So they were very popular then, and in fact if you go onto Etsy and you look at roller pillows, nearly every single one of them comes with bobbins looking like this. But I am not buying a truckload of roller pillows just to get a handful of bobbins each time, because you get like 20 or something. And well, 10 pairs, as you can already tell from this, does not get you very far. So you need potentially quite a few. Now I actually have, I think it's 120 something of these, so enough hopefully to make my lace pillow is my plan. And yes, the fact that these are not the same length does make it a little bit more awkward. But not a lot. To make these a bit longer. Oops, that was far too long. Didn't mean it to jump that far. Scale it back up a bit. Right, 2 more pairs to go, and we can actually start making holes. As I say, I'm not convinced this is entirely a spectator sport. I do fear people will mainly come, go, this is really boring, and leave. I don't blame them for that. But a number of people had said to me over the last few years, "Oh, you should, you know, I'd love to watch you weaving or whatever." And it's kind of like, really? You know, it's hard to get a good picture of weaving. All you'd really see is me going, stomp, throw, bash. And I am not pitch perfect, and I would have to be in it. And yeah, whereas this I mean, I know I've got fat stubby hands, but most of me is not exactly in shot, and it's not quite so bad. So it is quite a viable option, and because I need to do quite a large item in my grand scheming plans, the concept of forcing myself to stream while doing it would kind of encourage me to get on with it and get it finished, which I'm sure we can all attest is that you have these great ideas and you start them and then you find something else to do, which is not always kind of how you want this to go. So get in there. We can start making holes in it. Down. Why? Oh, you're attached to that one. That's why you're so short. Right, let's make you a bit longer. There we go. Right, time to make some holes. That doesn't look right. I missed, didn't I? That looks really wrong. Okay, so let's undo that. What was wrong with that? That's the 2. No, that's fine. I think it just looks wrong because it's at the end. Right. So, let's get back to the middle. Pin you out the way a bit. Grab some of you. Or grab a couple of you. So, as I said, the stitch that we're looking at is the honeycomb stitch. And you work it in a row of 3. Now, when I planned this, if I go back to my lace software, at the top, these are not my pokey in pins. These are the pins that I have just put in with the crossing of the threads. Those pins will be the start of my experiment. About now, I can pull each of these pins out. So, but what this means is that there is a stitch here, and then I'm going to start my magic experiment. So we go back to the lace pillow. I can now pull all of these out, which, you know, I'm sure you can imagine. First time you do this, it's a little bit scary. So I'm pulling this outer layer of pins out. And I'm sure some lace masters go, "Oh my god, you can't just pull them out. You must do each one and then pull all the threads." Oh no, I'll pull all the threads together. It's a lot easier on my sanity. So, pull these pins out. The one thing that you do get from doing lace making is, well, you do find yourself... Oh, did I miss one? No. You do find yourself somewhat immune to pins. Pins are actually quite, well, obviously the pointy end's pointy, but the blunt end's actually quite pointy too. Because if you need to push them in, which you can push them in, because once you get so far, you tend to push them in so you can see what you're doing better, or what you have done, or etc. a little bit more. So it is. There we go. That's what I wanted. You've already tangled yourself. Well done, bobbins. It is, frankly, an art form. And you get a sore bit on your finger, and then it goes a bit hard, and then where the pin usually meets your finger, which is, if I roll my finger, you can see there's like a dark bit there. It's just where the dark and light bit kind of form a hard bit, so you've got a sore bit and a slightly callousy bit. After a while, you have a callousy bit, and then, well, people say, oh, you could wear a thimble. Can you imagine wearing a metal thimble and trying to fiddle around and put pins in? It's not a deal. So the sore finger thing is a thing. So now we need to do, I probably need another set of bobbins actually. Let's have a look. So we're going to go down the outside. That didn't seem to work quite the way my brain said it should. One moment, let's undo that. Did I not cross them properly in the first place? So I'm working with the middle two. Here we go. I crossed the wrong one to start with, I think. That's why that looked funny. So this is the top of our first honeycomb. So one of those. Move on. The biggest problem is the shed load of pins. And the fact that you constantly stop to put in yet more pins. I need another pair. There we go. And the third pair. So, that's you three. I need another happy pin to hold you out the way for a second, and then I need, got 2, 3, right, so down this side, oh, your computer stopped after the ad finished. Oh, okay, that was a little bit weird. Don't know why that is. Not sure. Can't help that one, Tenchi, sorry. Computer stop. It might be that my whole kind of internet just farted a little bit too much. Because, you know, bless it. It's not very, very good at these things. So, I've got my 3 ends, for want of a better word. And as you can see, the pillow's already full, and we are making, it's like an inch wide, seriously. I mean, this elastic's an inch. It's an inch wide. It's a lot of bobbins to do, not a lot in lace making. And the bobbins really do get in the way quite a bit, which is part of the reason I really like these bobbins, because they've got quite thick tops to them. They don't I mean, obviously, when another thread gets wrapped around it, it does disappear into it, but it does tend to keep them apart a bit more, which can be quite good. So, let's release the Kraken on that one. So, this time, because we're not filling in that hole, because it's not on my pattern, I actually need, arguably, to do one more on the sides. Why do I need to do another one? Well, because the last pin actually shares with the next one. So if I do that, it's now ready to be coming down. And I'll do the same on the other side. Move that for a second. just want... I'm not very good at pins with my left hand, but I don't have anywhere I can put... Everything needed to be on my right, and I just don't have enough house to the right of me. No matter what I do, no matter where I sit, I couldn't set up enough that there would be enough to the right of me. So, I now need to pair these two together to make the downy bit on the honeycomb. That goes in. Hold the pin properly. It's wobbling in my hand, so as I was trying to scrape it around to find the hole, that goes there. And then we've done those two, so we now do these two. Penny, pen, pen. That goes in there. Penny, pen, pen. And then my brain's saying I've screwed this up somehow. But I haven't. But I have. How does that work? No, I haven't. I just need to do the ones in the middle. I'm being daft. Silly old fart. Right. Now, just do the one in the middle. And it goes in there, because we're skipping the middle hole. And cover the pin. And we've done our first honeycomb. Now, I'm probably sure you can't see a lot of that. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you and see if you can see the honeycomb. So if I zoomage in and see if I can... No, that's the wrong direction. If you look, you can see round this little circle of holes. In the middle, there's a hole. The pins are in the way. This is normal. This is what we lace workers deal with. Pins are always in the way. But you need the pins. So we've done one. We've only got like 20 something more to go. But it does get a little bit repetitive. So I do apologise for that. So let's zoom back out. Let's put this back to the middle. And zoom back to normal. There you go. So we've done those. Let's go this way. Now the advantage is that, like a lot of these things, you just don't have the room. Right, hang on. Let's see if I can. Let's make that a bit longer. Right. Trying to make them all similar lengths, but because we haven't got very far, some of the bobbins will move because their friends aren't, well, entirely anchored. As well as they could be yet. So for the next three, I've got one at the top, one in the middle, one at the bottom. So I can move and roll some of you out the way a little bit. Thank you for growling at nothing. We appreciate that, dog, if everybody heard that. And so that's the three on the left. This will be the three on the right. So, as I say, there looks to be some chaos here. I'm not entirely sure why there looks to be some chaos, but it's not as chaosy as it looks, I don't think. It does look like chaos though. Dog's on the move. Why does this look like chaos? My computer's kicking in because it is getting warm in here. It's not my imagination. Let's have a look. Rory, I am sitting in my own couch. So that's the three. Why is my brain's really just fallen apart? This is not hard, I promise you. So that's the hole in the middle, that's the left hand side. I need one more bobbin, which I've scrounged. It needs to be done with its friend, so let's do its friend. I think this is half the problem, is sometimes you need to do a bit and then it sorts itself out. once you get into the hang of it, it's not so bad. But until then, your brain kind of rebels a bit and makes life a lot harder. So let's try that. So I've got a couple of them and a couple of them. You need to come down to that one. That one there. I think part of the reason is also because I don't have the normal markings that you follow, and although it's really not that hard, your brain still goes, but are you sure? Yes, brain. No, but are you really sure? Now you've asked me twice, brain. No, I'm not. So let's do the other side of this square. You did cross. Feels like 2 pins. I'm really good at picking up 2 pins in absolute precision pairness, and then I go to put them in the hole and it seems a bit thick, and the answer is because it's 2 pins. So there's those 2, and these 2 form the bottom. See, I told you my brain was overthinking it and I was going a little bit insane. So on the issue of ads, why am I running ads? Well, because I can, and YouTube really does like you to run ads, and I thought that I'd let them, just because it gives... See, why are you being so awkward? I didn't do my normal knot on the bobbin, and it's being awkward as a result. Right, there we go. So, brains. Right. Let's see. So, we've now done all of you. Stab you out of the way. See if I can roll you up a little bit more. I'm trying not to stab. The cardboard actually runs all the way down to here. It's a really long bit of cardboard. I also appreciate that the brown cardboard and it's actually kind of pus green cotton that I'm using. Why are you using the pus green one? It's because it's pus green. It's an experiment. You don't waste good colours on experiments. I do appreciate that in principle I probably should have done the holes a bit further apart, used much thicker thread. But I want a kind of... this is the thickness of thread that I intend to use to make my let curtain from. Now, there is a part of me that says the 2 big holes that we've made, because we've now made 2, as you might be able to tell, I'm not sure I want a net curtain with that big a hole in, because, well, the flies can fly through that. I mean, we all know that a fly, if you crack open a window like 1 millimetre, the fly will come in. But have the entire window open, the fly can't fly out again. We all know that that's a thing. So it's just, I need to do the pin thing. That's part of the reason this looks weird. I need to do the extra pin, and then that comes down and does that one. Not sure that I actually needed to do that, but let's see. I'm pretty sure that just confuses things, but we'll soon see. Right, so we've got the 2 from there. See, brain cells my brain cells are just... all ends are a little pointy. Yeah, this is the kind of... this is how it goes. And then when you take it off, much like anything, once you release it from free of its pinnings, it does slightly change shape. I mean, for example, if I take one of my weedy experiments from earlier, if I hold it over a dark bit, I can pull it and it will go all thin and kind of nasty, or I can fluff it and make it all fat, right? So it isn't quite as, because you don't knot them, they're not fixed, they can move, and And hence the concerns for the net curtain, in that, you know, obviously the weight of it, I mean, the threads are next to nothing in weight in a small area. But if you take she says, looking at a window, it's got to be 20 inches by, I don't know, 40 something. Really, is it another half an hour? Oh, it is 3 o'clock. It would be good to know if it is actually showing ads and not just telling me it's showing ads. I'm looking at this. How is that working? I'm not convinced by that. Let's undo that. Unpin that. Stab. Undo. Undo. Unpin. I don't think... Oh, shut up, hound. I assume Gardening Man is doing... That's why. Didn't need that one. Didn't need that one. Oh yeah, Gardening Man's here. That's not how you spell that. Right, so now I need the pin. The pin goes there. That's where it goes. That then makes the edge of the 3. These then, getting a bit short. Oh, for goodness sake. It's not that hard. Just unwind a little bit. This then makes... Oh, please don't tell me he's cutting my grass. Let me quickly check whose grass he's cutting. I'll cheat and see if I can do it using the camera. Hang on. No, he's doing neighbour's garden, that's alright. Won't get too noisy then. Now we need to do the pin the other side. There we go. That's beginning to make a bit more sense now. Right. And then the one in the middle. Pin in the middle. Don't roll and get in the way, thanks. Go away. And cover the pin. So, that's the 3 going down. Hurrah! Now to do the other side. Well, we don't have to do the other side. We can keep working in a downwards direction. This is where being lace making is a bit strange, because you have choices. So I could work down now this side and keep the V formation. I can work down in diagonals like this, or I can fill in this one and that with those two, and then the 3, and actually work down as you might think about it. So lace making does have a lot of choices. There is no right, there is no wrong. It is how it is, if you know what I mean. So you have choices and you get to pick, and I am going to pick continuing down the diagonal, I think. So let's pull you out the way for a bit. Pull you out the way. Do you think this angle might be a bit steep? And you out the way for a bit. Right, so that gives us 2 of those and 1 of those. You're attached to one of those, which makes you move. Thanks a lot. So here we are. We've got that. We need to do. That's the wrong number of bobbins. So 2 of you, 2 of you, 2 of you, 2 of you. You need to be mixed with you two. Poke. You see, when I lift them up, I'm getting them confused because they move. You are there. So let's try and scrape the pin up underneath. And now do the covering of the pin. And pin you out the way. My big pin. There we go. Right. So you two come down, and you two make this one. Hold the blessed pin, woman. Stop. Just. I haven't got much of a nail. In fact, I've got even less on this one because it broke. But I am finding myself. I grab the pin. Grab a pin. And I go to grab the pin, and it's like there's something wrong in my head. Don't answer that. Is that a digital zoom? Yes, it is a digital zoom. I have the Nexigo N60 for what it's supposed to give you 60 frames a second at 1080. So that was why I got it. It was not very expensive, so I was going to use my GoPro, but my GoPro was being mean. In fact, it was being really mean. And you can't really zoom on a GoPro, as I found out. So it can do really good, but it doesn't really zoom. So the GoPro was a no-go. So I got this Nexigo thing. It was better than the work camera thing that I have. That was just terrible. The quality was terrible. Everything about it was terrible. This is really not that bad considering it was about 30 quid. So it really was. It was quite legible. But when I hold pins, the problem is I hold the pin, but what I'm finding is I'm holding the pin kind of almost between the gap between my fingers. So if I didn't have any nails, it would just kind of fall out. And so as I go to drag it around the thing, it's just moving around. I'm not holding it hard enough is the short answer. These two go as a pair. And now I've got a pin there, so I'll be a bit quicker. It goes in there. And then cover the pin. And I pulled on you, so I need to find your friend. There it is, it's up there. Right, and then the one at the bottom. Those two. The problem is, of course, is pinged my pin everywhere. Dog looking at me. I feel a dog attack coming on. It's wagging its tail at me. What do you want, Rory? What do you want? He's not very subtle and he's liable to bang them. What do you want, little man? You want a head scratch? Talk amongst yourselves while we nurse the dog. Now, Amy, don't headbutt everything. you can see why this was a potential. Yes, I know. The gardening, grass-stealing man is here. Go and watch him, rather than watching me, hounds. Right, so now I need... There's the 3 top, middle and bottom. Thank you, dog. I've done those. I now need these. Rory. Wretched animal. What you want? Yes, I know. The problem is you hug one because it was being nice and the other one comes and headbutts you. Have you been licking her ears? Rory suckles on Amy's ears. You're old enough to know better. You're 4 years old now. You're not tiny wee puppies no more. That's a dog nose, yes. Yes. No, I don't need your help. No. There's another hour. Well, there's 45 minutes more to go. We may stay longer, but there's 45 minutes. Off you go. Go on. Sod off. Right. So, I need to do... No. Do I need to do this one? Brain fart in progress. So that's the bottom 3. Yes, I do need to do this one. That goes here. Just pick a pin, woman. It goes here. I can't stab with my left hand. I am total degenerate. No, it's not that one. That one. Christ's sake, woman. All you're doing is stabbing a pin, and I want those bobbins to keep out the way. So, do you go there? I think you do go there. What should we do? Let me think. No, you go there. Right. Stab in the right hole. As I say, because I haven't laid this out, it does make life a little bit more awkward. So, you two come down to do that. Hole there. Because it makes it a lot easier to follow the stabbing holes when there are lines. Let's see. Fuck off. Get out of the way for a minute. So you're not sure those were the right ones. Because that's... No, it's the right one. It goes there. It covers that one. The problem is, as you can see, even for this, these bobbins get in the way. And then you can't really pile them up because they tangle. And I struggle with this. This is something that my brain cells really do struggle with. Now, you get to go round a pin like that, and you need to come up a bit like that, and then you get to be paired again round this other pin. Oop, that's a pin on the floor, one in the dog's foot for later. The one thing I haven't successfully done, stab them in the paw too much. Forgive me for this. Alexa, what's the temperature on the downstairs thermostat?
The downstairs thermostat temperature is 20.5 degrees.
How's it only 20 and a half in here? Right, let's pin you out of the way. Feels more like 24. And now, you two in the middle get to make the point. Okay. So, see, suddenly it all comes together and it starts looking like you know what you're doing. This is not always true. But yeah. So, onwards and upwards. As you can see, I really do struggle with the whole bobbins thing. Now, on a bolster pillow, the round ones, what you can do is all these ones to the left, you kind of chuck over the back. But the ones you want are the ones on top. So you can just grab the ones you want, work with the... You see, you grab them from over there, work with them, chuck them over to the right. So, and then once there are no more on the left, you work back again. And it does work out quite nicely. But I've got a feeling I need a slightly less angle on my thing. I'm not so sure if there is an option for... Oh, there is an option for lesser an angle. Hang on, let's see if I can manage this without causing too much havoc. There it is. Right, it's flat now, so I need to move it a bit more. Hang on. It's not on rolly things, so let me move it like that. There you go. It's a bit more flat now, so hopefully I can move them. What I really want is a tiny bit of angle, but literally not a lot. Right, and of course, now it's a lot higher and I can't really see it. The story of my life. Right, so let's put these out of the way because I don't need you for a bit. I need you two and you two. So stabby stabby. Get rid of you. Move you over there. Stabby stabby. And we'll do these two. So, because we've now got the formation going, it's a little easier to see where we're going. The only problem is now I can't see where we're going quite so easily, but okay. So, cover the pin. Wind you up because for some reason now you're too long. How do you wind them up and wind them down, Les? Well, that's an easy answer. You use a hitch knot, and the hitch knot slides, and doesn't slide. It kind of does as you tell it to do, really. And so what you can do is you do the hitch knot, and then when you want more of it, you twiddle it one way. When you want less of it, you pull it out a little bit, and twiddle it the other, and hey presto, it all winds back on. So this is the art of bobbin control. See, that one went really so much easier, but not because I'm really not happy with it being utterly flat. But this is not designed. I can't make it any lower either. This is as low as it goes. Oh well, never mind. Things to learn, things to practice. So now I need these two, and not these. These can roll a little bit more dangerously close to the edge. This big pin's really not actually a good plan now. Don't need the big pin. Let's use a slightly sharper, smaller pin, because as you can see it's catching a little bit. Put it back in the couch. There you go. And I need two of these. There we go. Put out the way. You spend a lot of time stabbing about with pins and frigging about with bobbins. So this is how this goes a lot. So one goes there. Stabby stabby, cover it. Now, in some countries, instead of this dark cloth here covering over, why a dark cloth, Liz? Well, it helps you see what you're doing just that bit easier. That's right, my pillow moved because it's now flat, and when I touched it with my arm, it just moved because, well, that's the story of life, is it not? Anyway. So, cover pin. I am so hot. I was cooling down a minute ago and now it's really, really hot again. Ah, oh, dear me, I'm so old. Right. This makes it very hard to concentrate. That's in the middle of the thing. We don't really want to stab that. Stab that there. Right. I'm going to lay you at an angle so that you're out of the way. Actually, I think I need you. Let's think about how this works. You two now need to make the one down arrow that is additional. It goes there. done, you then need to be pinned to make the third bit, and then you get to go again to make the next bit. There, and that's you two done. Then I need you two, so I need to make you a bit longer. Another art I have not mastered is the amount of yarn to put on a bobbin. I really didn't put much on these, but if you think about it logically, most of the bobbins travel roughly, and I say roughly, straightish down. So therefore you only technically need the length that you're going to do, but obviously you need it to attach to the bobbin and you need it to stay on the bobbin, so it can't just be like a centimetre's worth of extra. It has to be a decent bit, otherwise it just falls off. And so I inevitably put way too much on and then magically managed to run out of some of it. So because obviously, for example, there's a thing called cloth stitch. Cloth stitch, funnily enough, works like normal weaving, where some of the threads become what would be in weaving term warp threads, i.e. the ones hanging down, and one bobbin pair goes side to side, and it wraps around the pins at the ends. Now in weaving you don't wrap around pins at the end. It would be quite helpful if we did actually, because then you wouldn't get drawing, but that's another story. So if you're doing this, I mean, with these holes, you'd ignore all of these holes and maybe you'd go from pin to pin, depending on how wide you wanted it to be. And when you do that, it makes a fairly solid fabric looking like cloth. So despite the fact that these threads look really flimsy and there seems to be quite a lot of hole in this, if we were to do cloth stitch, it's amazing how much it kind of firms up. And there is a reason for that. Now, as a weaver, this really, really is wrong. For a balanced weave, you have, in a given area, the same number of threads coming down as you do going across. But think about this logically. If I have, as I've got 12 pairs here, 11 pairs dangling down, that's 22 threads going across. But when I take a pair of bobbins, now obviously there's a pair per pin, that's fine. But when you go side to side, you've got the pair going one way and the pair coming back. Well, that makes kind of four now, doesn't it? It doesn't, because technically it belongs to the pin the other side, but they're on the same row, so it is four. And it does mean that you end up with, it looks like cloth, it looks like normal weaving, but it means that it makes it a lot denser than it would have been if you'd actually done it on a loom. So lace making is related to weaving in a lot of ways, except instead of having fixed threads going down and then making all the patterns by picking out which ones you go over and under, with this one we twist them, and we twist random threads in effect to make pretty patterns. And obviously this makes for holes, and well, lace is associated with holes. It does not have to have holes, and there are things that you can do. So you can have what's known as a gimp thread. All crafting needs to come with a disclaimer of the names are stupid. So a gimp thread is a lot thicker. So for something like what I'm working with, this might be a kind of thread that you use. Now, okay, this one's white, but what it does is by being fat, you can outline certain elements of what you're doing, and you can use a pretty colour or not. It can mask a few sins as well, by the way. That's a good thing that it's good for. Being licked by the dog. Don't eat that. I have a growth in my armpit called Rory. Apparently I need licking. Yes, you be a good boy. No, that does not mean help. You may see small amounts of dog face and hear lickings. Apparently we're being licked again. I know. Okay? I'm aware that the grass stealing man is here. I'm aware that you have not been fed yet today. I know this because I haven't done it. And you'll get afterwards. Yes. You have half an hour. Yes, Amy, half an hour. Go on, sod off. Lie down. Lie down and do dog things. Dream of bones and things. Whatever it is dogs dream of. Right. You can't be dreaming of bones, they rabbit too much. So let's move all of these now out of the way. And as you can see, it does grow. It kind of grows fairly fast because it's kind of a simple thing with not a lot to do in it. But at the same time, it doesn't grow that fast. So the whole kind of concept of doing the net curtain, it'll not be a short job. And so when I have decided exactly how I intend to tackle the bear, I will be... Why is this glitching? Let's undo this knot, because clearly this knot is not knotting the way that it should not. The problem is I can't really do it with a short bit. There you go. And now I have to make it shorter. There we go. Now it's too short. Okay, so this side I am doing the skippy bit, I think. Yes, our skippy bit. Skippity bit, skippity bit. And that goes in that hole there. Skippity bit. And then see now it's making a bid for freedom. Goodness gracious. Just behave, children. Right. So this one now needs to come out one and then go back in to be the pair of the first one. Actually, let's not do this one yet. Do you in a minute. So let's undo that one for a minute. That can be there for a minute. Right, let's shuffle you round and do this one. So I need two pairs, the bottom one and that one and the top one. So if I can shuffle you round just a bit more to make a bit more space in the bottom. It never seems to be quite what you want. So you, I'm not convinced. You two. Right, so I should really lengthen these, but then you can't really see the bobbins. Like all things, some people will tell you, hey, one should have one's bobbins, all the way down, off what would be off camera. So, but then you can't see them. So it is a little bit hard for me because short bobbins are a pain. But I actually quite prefer them short and because I am slightly weird, so I don't mind them being short, but they're short and then there's just too short. And these are getting a little bit too short even by my standards, so let's make them a bit longer. So I need some honest answers. I know there aren't many of you out there, that's fine. So let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can do... one of these. I thought one of these was a button. I thought I had a magic button for this. Hold on. I really thought I had a button for this. I thought I had a poll button, but I don't see a poll button. I've got a lot of other options, but not what I thought I had. Prediction. Well, that's just a bit crap. So, question then. um, I fear Tenchi may be the only one watching. How is this going? How do you think it's coming across? Is this not really is this not really kind of a spectator sport? If I do more of it, will you come back? What do you think? What's the plan? Oh, dog, just sit still. It would be good to have opinions on whether you feel this is worth me pursuing more frequently, or at least occasionally, so you can see how things are going. As I say, I'm not convinced this is entirely a spectator sport. I think it's great for people who want to ask questions and see how it's done, but at the same time, it's kind of a... Once you've seen me fiddle with some bobbins a little bit, you kind of seen me fiddle with some bobbins, so I also do understand that it's not necessarily, oh my god, there's going to be a 5-hour stream, excellent, it excellent may not be the word you have for it. So as you can see, it's growing a little bit. I can zoom in again if you would prefer. So let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I need to remember which way I tilted this. There you go. Lift it up a little bit and zoom it in. As you can see, we've made a few. Obviously not enough, but we've made a few. Obviously we are just repeating the same stitch over and over again. But then, as I said, it's all cross or twist. There is only the two. So to be honest, even different stitches, they're just made of crosses and twisteds and in slightly different orders or repeats. So it is not a complicated sport, which is why my brain's going, yeah, let's do the lace curtain. Yeah, that's a thing. But as I said, my brain just needs to not, It'd be a lot easier if it didn't. Really, really wouldn't. I'm going to stay zoomed in a bit so that you can have a bit more of a watch at this lace level as to what's going on. So I now need to make these bobbins a bit longer because 2 inches really not enough. And I'm making a bit down the side. Stabby, 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 stab. I think it goes. Hang on, calculation in progress. Yep, it goes think there, hang on. It really doesn't help, but I can't see because it's more than 3 inches away from my face. It's not the one underneath. Yeah. So, that comes down there and in to there. That's the one. It is there. Oh, there may also be a thunderstorm just to really annoy the dogs. So that then goes over there. Take you out the way for a minute. Computer's kicking in because it says it's too hot. As I said, it's really weird that the thermostat says it's only 20 degrees in here when the computer keeps kicking in because it says it's running hot. So, and I usually have this computer on all day and it's not exactly doing anything complicated. So, yes, you barked it. That'll make it feel so much better, Amy. Yep, there goes the thunderstorm. Bark. That's going to be a good one. Let me quickly look at something. Oh, yes. Excellent. Let me share this with you because this will make you laugh. Oh, he's doing my garden now. Fucking marvellous. Gardener's decided to do my garden. Let me put this here and show you this. I'm sure I set something up for this. Apparently not. Let me see if I can quickly. No, that's not the one I wanted. Let me quickly change this to this. Yeah, that's the lightning strikes. Yeah. It's a storm out there, guys. Anyway, let's get back to some lace making because, well, that's the easy bit of life. Let's go this direction. So I need those two and those two. You two come down. And it's amazing how you can have an entire box of pins and still not actually be able to grab a pin. You can hurt yourself, but actually grabbing a pin just doesn't seem to happen. Because they're all pointy end upwards. You would think if you got a really strong magnet that you'd be able to encourage them all to be fat end down or something, or even fat and then flip them and have them fat end up, but it doesn't work like that. You'd think that the pull would be greatest on the fat end, but it doesn't seem to work that way. Shut up, Amy. I know he's doing the garden. And we've got 15 minutes and he's going to bang on the door to go round the back, isn't he? Yes, he is. At some point. No, get out of it. So. Now this looks a bit strange. Something strange has gone on here. Gone down that side. We seem to be missing something. I don't know, maybe not. Calculation in progress. Yeah, we seem to be missing a pair of bobbins. Let's have a think about this. So, you're the bottom of her, you're the middle. You're the middle. Amy, shut up! This doesn't seem to be quite right somehow. I am on an Ethernet cable. It's just my crappy internet. I changed from Wi-Fi to an internet cable because I assumed it was my Wi-Fi. It's not the Wi-Fi. I even made a ping monitor program, and you can sit there and literally with nothing running, it will suddenly go red and time out, and literally the only thing, I mean, I've got quite a few Alexa light bulbs, but truth of it is that it can barely support, ping, let alone anything else. So I don't know what to say. I can't do anything about that, and that's the annoyance. The old house had a much better ratio. It was the same speed internet that I paid for, but I got the full 80/20. Here, I don't get half of it. I get more of 35/7. But 7 meg up should be enough. I'm only supposed to need 3.5. So I now need to work out how I've screwed this up somehow. I haven't screwed this up. I have, because there's a hole, and this is where I normally stick my head on it and play spot, because the reason this looks funky is that something's out of sync. These all are in a line. This is not. I've messed up here somewhere. These are all in the wrong place. I have screwed it up. Well, here we get to work out how you undo it. And it's quite easy to undo. You just undo it. So you're all good. You get pinned out of the way because we don't need any of you. You lot get to come over and be undone. So we undo. You undo by reversing the order of what you did. Shut up, hounds. It's really not that exciting. Especially as it was supposed to be here on Monday. And today's Friday. Oh, is that where I went wrong? It's alright. Yeah. Shut up. Poke. Yeah, that's where we went wrong. Somewhere about here. So, we went wrong somewhere about here. The question is, in how did we go wrong? What did we do that was wrong? The answer was, you were not supposed to be over there. That's why we went wrong. You are supposed to be purely that. You now come down to here. Although that still looks wrong actually. Let's undo that and have a better look, because... So, you're going to be the hole. You're in the wrong place. You need to be there. That's what it is. See? So easy to get out of step with things just by moving things into one wrong hole. So then, you two go over here. And now you're in the right line. And then the two in the middle. Go on, pee down the rain so he doesn't knock on the door. Please pee down the rain. At the moment we've got a lot of thunder, but not... Actually, I think we'll do these next to that. When they get long, they don't untwist properly. Got a lot of thunder and no rain at the moment. So you need to come down and be post for this side. you two now form the bottom. There we go. See, now we're back on track. Now we're back on track. I bet he's going to ring a doorbell any moment. If he does, I'll have to end the stream a bit early because he never just takes no for an answer. Or... But actually, so I think in some ways, well, we can probably manage another couple, can't we? So let's... You go in there. You go... There you go. Boom. Rory, I know. What a man. It's a hard life being a Rory. So you two go to make posts on the way down. You then go